Are you happy with how long your Scuba Air lasts? I used to breathe my scuba tank dry like a tornado ripping through a trailer park until I developed some air-saving methods and breathing techniques that allow me to make my air last much longer than it did. Maybe you have a similar experience when you drop into the depths. Do you get those angry looks from your scuba diving buddy because you sucked the air out of your tank like a space shuttle burns through rocket fuel and made him end his dive before it barely got started? And if so, are you tired of getting those looks? Do you experience the frustration of too short dive times because you suck air at vacuum cleaner speeds? Do you struggle to save scuba air? I used to descend to depth, anticipating the joy of watching a clownfish dart in and out of the tendrils of an anemone, only to get in a position, glance at my pressure gauge, and realize that my air was already low, and I was near time to head back toward the surface. Just to get up there and look over at my dive partner and see his angry looks because he'd only used half a tank, but his dive was over seemingly before it really started. Lucky for me, I had some really patient friends back then. As scuba divers, we all breathe at different rates. There are a number of reasons for this. Some we can't control, but some of them we can do something about. The genetic makeup of our bodies is one factor that influences how fast we suck the air from our tank, and that condition is one we have very little control over. The fact is, the larger our frame, the faster we go through our air. That's because the bigger we are, the more water we have to push aside when we fin along. The more water we have to push out of the way, the more we work to fin forward. And the more we work, the more we tire ourselves. And that makes us breathe faster to get more air into our lungs. But genetics is only one thing that affects how our bodies impact our rate of air consumption. Our physical condition has a lot to do with how fast we breathe air too. And that condition often works against us, both when we're in shape and when we're out of shape. If you're a Mr. Universe class weightlifter, your dive profile is much longer than most scuba divers. And you're also larger if you're overweight. The larger your dive profile, the more you work to move through the water, and the faster you suck air. Your dive gear also tends to increase your profile. The more tools and toys you have hanging off your buoyancy control device, or your BCD, the larger your profile. If your buoyancy control skills aren't honed, you'll keep inflating and deflating your BCD bladder, causing your profile to constantly change. Improper weight selection will make you keep inflating and deflating also. You can take control to extend your dive time, preserve the air in that scuba tank, and breathe like you're sipping an after-dinner brandy. Now, I know you're not a debutante, you're a scuba diver, but that doesn't mean that you have to guzzle your air like you're going through a spring break beer. It's what I wanted back then. When I went through my air so fast, I dreamed of being the one who passed out those ugly looks rather than the one receiving them. Well, kinda. I actually wanted to be someone who could help other divers reduce the air consumption rates for longer dive times. So I started studying and experimenting. I found out that the rate you breathe your air depends on the way you wear your dive gear, your dive profile, how you kick, and how you actually breathe while you're underwater. My research got me a lot of diving knowledge on the subject of making my air last. Stuff like, you can't control your genetic makeup, but you can control your body's efficiency at moving through the water. How your attitude makes you breathe fast or slow. State of mind at any given time affects breathing rate. How calming your mind before a dive helps lengthen your dive. And I learned a method for making my mind scuba ready. What the quality of your dive gear means to the quality of time of your dive. How the condition of your dive gear increases or decreases your dive time and your safety risk too. I did some personal musings about techniques I tried for breathing underwater also. I found 5 breathing exercises to use on land to perfect my scuba breathing technique before I ever got wet. I found out how the position of dive equipment makes you work harder or not while you're finning through the water, and what those equipment positions do to your breathing rates. I also learned 13 breathing techniques that you can experiment with yourself. Mix and match among these techniques I tried during my own air-saving quest and find the right technique for your scuba diving style. And I discovered one style of breathing you never want to use while underwater. I put my new scuba air-saving methods and breathing techniques in my book. It's called Scuba Air, Make Your Dives Last Longer. If you'd like to learn some more about making your air last longer, just follow the link below this video. There you'll find out more about my book and how to get your copy. Good luck and happy diving!